And we have a quorum, is that true?
That is true.
So let's call the April 29th meeting of the Middleton Arts Committee to order. And the first item of business is approval of the minutes from the March 18th meeting. Anybody want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to
This is
approve.
Megan. Okay, I'll second. Megan seconds.
Okay, Michelle moves and Megan seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item of business is the Public Art Master Plan Addendum Draft. And I guess, Meg, that's yours.
Yes, Abby and Katie and I just met this afternoon, and I think we have it to the point where the rest of the committee now has a chance to review and edit further. I can say that it's probably missing some things that we've talked about, I would guess, as I'm going through the minutes right now. It's like, yeah, we don't have the stencils in there. So yeah, there's definitely needs some more work and revision. I think the question would be how you want to go about revising it and reviewing it. Would you want to do it individually, or would you want to do it as a meeting and we would go through it together?
We could do it individually and then email you our suggestions, I suppose. Does that seem practical?
That's fine with me. Whatever works best for the committee.
Abby, does that sound okay to you?
Yep, I can just send you the latest version, which is version 3, in an email tomorrow,
Okay.
and then let you know to email Meg with any of your suggested changes.
Okay. We don't need a motion for that, do we?
I don't think so. There was one other question that we had that came up in the meeting, and it was just whether there was something in here that came from the document that we got with Rochelle when we were doing the update,
Mhm.
and it was called Complete the Picture, and it was a project that was gonna happen in 5+ years on the trail system or in the conservancy, and we could not remember what complete the picture meant. So we wanted to throw it out to you all and see if any of you remember, and if not, we're probably just gonna delete it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm cooking my kids' dinner, so I turned off the video. That was something I came up with, a proposed piece that I suggested. I think it's too elaborate to discuss for this meeting, maybe. You can delete it if you want. I don't think it'll happen.
well, we want to remember what it was.
So the idea was to have, okay, imagine the really popular idea of having like a picture frame as a sculpture that you look through and people take photos through it all the time. So I wanted to have half of that in the Pheasant Branch Conservancy, and then the other half would be somewhere else in the city. That
Oh,
was
okay.
the idea, basically.
I remember that
Then
now.
I'd also have like a half bench or something. I don't know. The thought was bringing two parts together as a whole. The city and the urban and the Pheasant Branch Conservancy.
I remember that now. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
gonna go back.
we should have described that in a different way or something. I don't know if there's another.
I haven't thought about that since we talked about it that night.
I suppose, Meg, that you could forward it to Meg and see if she wants to incorporate it. Anyway, speaking of Pheasant Branch Conservancy, I don't know if you know, but there's a pair of eagles who are raising a chick in the conservancy. Just saw that today.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about with respect to the Arts Master Plan?
I don't think so. It's ready for some more revising.
Okay, so Abby, you'll send us the necessary information.
Yep.
How about the percent for arts program discussion? We don't have Katie Nelson. Well, actually, do we have anything else to discuss about that?
We're missing Christina. She did make some additional changes to the document, so I included the latest version in your packet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the only part that wasn't filled in was our standard process for selecting artwork, which we don't really have written out anywhere aside from we have some requests for proposals that we've kind of done and modified a little bit, but I think that's all that's missing from it.
And you said you had some discussions with the TIF committee?
I did talk with them, but I think it was before our last meeting. So I had given like a lot of changes that they suggested. Well, they weren't major things, but stuff like identifying that the non-lapsing fund is not the arts committee's fund, but it's the city's public art fund. So she made that change. What were some of the other ones? Now I'm forgetting. They're probably in the minutes. There were a couple of other like minor changes that they had suggested, and she's incorporated all of those now into the document.
Does this have to go to the city attorney?
Well, I have talked with him about this, but I haven't sent him the proposal. So that could be the next step, is to send it to him and just see if he has any feedback before it goes to the city council.
Okay, yeah, can we do that? Do we need a motion to do that?
It might be good to have a motion, since the city would be spending money, to have our attorney look at it.
This
So
is
I'll make a
Katie.
motion.
Oh, sorry, Rob.
Go ahead.
I will move that we refer the percent for arts documentation onto the city attorney for approval.
Anybody want a second? If no one else will, I will. I'll second. So all in favor of moving the percent for arts program discussion onto the city attorney, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. How about updates on marketing and communication?
I can do that.
Okay,
So Michelle, Megan, and I briefly met virtually, and we first talked about the monthly art feature in the newspaper. I don't know, Michelle, if you want to talk a little bit more about that. We came up with some names, some ideas that we wanted to run by you for it's like an art column. And
Okay.
Michelle, do you want to talk more about that, or do you want me to?
Sure. Basically, we're going to be featuring an artist once a month. And what I'm asking for is a bio from the artist, and then a picture of either their artwork or them with their artwork, or both. And so I got the list from Abby of the Middleton artists, and I saw Emily Coons on the list, and I said, ooh, she could be our first victim. And so I have been in contact with her, and she has sent me her information. So now we're at the point where we're looking to come up with a name, and we had some names in mind that we thought we would run past you. Let me find the email, or do you?
I have it.
You have it? Okay, Maria.
Michelle, you had liked Art Encounters.
Mhm.
I had liked Creative Connections and Creative Corner. And Megan, did you express which one you liked?
I think, I don't know. I like them all, I guess, but I don't really like the Creative Corner now that I read it again. Kind of feels like you're boxed into a corner, maybe. Creative Connections, I think, is kind of nice.
Didn't we have Art Minute or something like that as well? Art.
The Art Encounters, I like the versatility of it, because it could potentially mean that it could cover more than just highlighting an artist. Like, maybe it's highlighting a piece of artwork or so, like maybe there's an art event going on that we want Michelle to cover. So I feel like that covers a little bit more of a broad category. Is that the right word?
I thought, okay, but I thought we were gonna feature an artist each week.
Yes, we are. I digress.
But I think that when we say artist, that could be a performance artist, it could be a writer, it could be something of that nature as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a visual artist. So maybe Art Encounters is best, or Art Corner, or what do you guys think? Do you guys have an opinion on this?
This is Katie. I like the umbrella effect of Art Encounters. It doesn't make you have to stick to just an artist featured every week. You could have it be for an event if you wanted it to. It's just some place that people will reference all things artistic.
Well, I think, we're covering stuff in the paper anyway when we have an event, like I cover that anyway. And so I wanted this to be really specific, when I started thinking about this, because this is something we intend to put on our Facebook, on Facebook as well. But that's not to say that we couldn't switch it up. And if you guys have ideas of people that you would like featured, you can certainly message them to me. But anyway, it'll be featured in the newspaper, and then we'll go on our social media. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So anyway, I was thinking of starting this in May, since I already have Emily's stuff.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
And yeah. So did we want to decide as a group what the title is, or do you want marketing to decide that?
I'm comfortable leaving it to you all to decide.
Okay. We can do that. And then what Abby just pulled, that's sharing with us, those are in social media posts, templates that Megan designed for us on Canva. And the nice thing about using Canva is that anybody can have access to that. You don't have to be a designer to have access to this program. It's online. And so once you have a template, it's just a matter of dropping text and images. And so Megan did an awesome job. Just kind of to give you an example of these would be posted on Facebook by Abby, because we were wondering if we could do that ourselves, but apparently I think only some people can do that on, like, have access to the city's Facebook page. Right, Abby?
Yeah, there are only 3 people that post to it, because I think the city's worried about, if something inappropriate gets posted on there or something. We just want to be careful. So it's only city employees that are able to post to it.
Yeah. So Megan created an arts committee email that anybody can use to be able to access this Canva program. And so we were thinking of just doing maybe right now a couple of Facebook posts a month or something, maybe increase it later with more frequency. But that was the idea. So what do you guys think?
Sounds good to me.
Great. And then the another thing that we discussed was ideas for a Good Neighbor Festival. This is something that I'm going to pass on to Michelle to talk a little bit more about. You want to talk about it, Michelle?
Sure. So we were talking about doing some kind of, so one of our goals obviously is to increase the exposure of the Arts Committee, because a lot of people don't know about the Arts Committee. And so we have been discussing doing an interactive art, what would you call it? Interactive art event at Good Neighbor Fest. And so we've been tossing some ideas around. The idea stemmed from the chamber last year did a collective painting in which they had a background drawn or painted on a canvas, and people could come in and paint whatever they wanted onto the background. And so the idea kind of stemmed from that. And one of the things that we've talked about is doing a projection of an image onto a canvas and then letting people, kind of create their own idea of what the Ferris wheel should look like or the food stands, with the goal of placing this somewhere publicly. We've also thrown around the idea of whether or not we should do 2 different ones on the different days of Good Neighbor Fest, or if we should stick to one day. So Courtney is very excited about this idea. And she is chairing the Good Neighbor Fest again this year. And she wanted to run with it. When I just asked her if we could have some involvement, she was all about it. So, I think that this is something that we could do easily and inexpensively. Meg is looking at canvas prices. I have not talked to Jocelyn to see if the library would be a location where we could put it, but that was what we kind of had in mind when we started talking about this. I had actually originally asked Courtney if we could do host the children's art or something of that nature at Good Neighbor Fest, but that's already been taken by the Education Foundation. So this was kind of the secondary idea, but I guess it wouldn't necessarily have to be painting. I just thought that that might be the easiest. And we've discussed, in our discussion, we talked about just a canvas, but we were all really like the projection idea, and wondered about the feasibility of using the projector that was used downtown, or if we need to do something else. So anyway, that's kind of it in a nutshell, what we talked about. You guys want to add to what I said?
No, I think you did a great job.
I
So
think you said that we could use the projector the city has, and I think it should be strong.
That's right. Mhm.
Yeah, but except for that, so are you thinking about doing it just during the day? Because we would probably need a pretty good projector to be able to see it well during the day. So I wonder if we should use ETCs, because theirs is quite a bit more high powered. We could test it and see if the rec department one works. The ETC one would definitely need to be supervised, because it's like a $20,000 piece of equipment. The arts committee one, or the rec department one, it's probably like a $500 model, and I don't know if it would be strong enough to be able to see the outline of the image during the daytime.
Mhm.
Well, we had discussed putting it under like in a tent or something of that nature.
Oh, okay, so it's darker. Okay,
So,
yeah.
And the other thing we had discussed as well was putting it maybe near the information desk, so that there's always going to be somebody at the information desk. So, not necessarily to keep an eye on it for us, but just notice if something were to happen.
If it's inside a tent and like the tent has sides,
Mhm.
then it would probably be pretty dark in there. So I think that would work out okay. And I also think that displaying at the library is a great idea. I think Jocelyn would love it. She's got, she worked with Christina. She got some assistance from Christina Koopman to figure out a new system for where they're going to display art in the library, and they've installed it. The library is reopening. What is today? Today's Thursday. Actually, I think they reopened to the public today, but they were so busy getting all the collection materials ready that they didn't have an artist to display. So the area where they have set up for that, it's blank right now.
Mhm.
So I think she would love to have somebody else, come up with an idea to display for a while. Wouldn't be permanent, but it would probably be like a few months or something.
Mhm. Great. Yeah, and then the other thing we talked about was about the possibility of creating an annual grant for an artist through our committee. And I had come up with that suggestion based on the Blink grant from Madison. I think it's a great grant to get engagement from artists, local artists, to do something that's public and socially engaged with the community. And it's a $500 grant that they do. I forget how many they give out because it's not just one. And I believe that it goes up to $1,500. So anywhere between $500 and $1,500 is what they do. There is a link to the Blink guidelines that we could send to you to see as a model. But what I really like about having a little bit of money set aside for artists, like in grant form, is that it really allows artists to engage with us in a more proactive way. I think artists, we really need that support, and we're always trying to find that funding somehow. And so we're always, searching for organizations and cities that will support us. And so this, just having whatever money we can set aside, just to give a grant to an artist, and just and use one of, it's not the city of Madison it's not just the Blink, they have many different kinds of grants that we can use as models. And then the applications we can use as models. So it wouldn't be writing something from scratch. We can just, use their model. And yeah, so that's something we talked about. And after that, I think that was pretty much it, right, Megan and Michelle?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that pretty much covers my notes that I have here, so.
Mhm,
That's a lot. You guys did a lot of work.
mhm. Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to discuss with respect to, that issue of supporting local artists, highlighting local artists?
We have our operating budget still this year, $5,000 bucks. We haven't done anything with it, so
It's
if you
there.
wanted
It's available.
to start it, we could.
I did want to ask a question about, I know that with the Biden relief package, tons of cities are getting money to disperse to artists.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if Middleton could qualify for that in a way.
Well,
I know
saw
that right now there's like $1 million that's going to be dispersed by Madison
I
to
thought that
artists.
Dane County was doing that.
Oh,
it not?
okay. So if Dane County, Middleton doesn't have to.
I
I'm not
think
sure how
we're
that works.
probably too small that we wouldn't
Okay.
get like that direct source of funding. It would go to the
Mhm.
county, but artists in Middleton
Can apply,
could
definitely.
apply, I would think.
Mhm.
So maybe it's
Yes.
more of a matter of promoting it. That would be our role, is to like make sure that the artists locally know about it.
Yes, that would be a great thing to promote. Because I think it's up to $2,500 that artists can get. And that just brings up that's why I was also thinking of a grant that could be more related to COVID. Lots of artists have been really impacted by COVID. So if we wanted to give out money to artists who have to cancel exhibitions and shows, and it doesn't have to be just visual artists, it could be musicians and, to support them during COVID. It could be written that way.
Any other ideas?
I guess my only question for the marketing working group is, for this annual grant program, what would be like our next steps to move forward? Like, what do we need to do? Do we need to provide you guys with something if we want to make this reality by the end of the year?
I guess the question is, how do you want to market this? If you have a plan or an idea, we could just, present it to the committee and say, this is how we're going to do it. Just have the committee sign off on it.
So just draft up a document,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly, right.
Okay.
And if you send it to me a few days in advance of the meeting, I can get it into the packet so everybody has a chance to review it before the meeting.
Okay, anything else about marketing you want to discuss?
Oh,
I,
I better bring the packet back up so Rob knows what the next item is. Sorry. Where'd it go? There we go.
okay, so I guess the next item is updates on maintenance. Mike and Megan.
Oh, Mike's muted.
Either one of them still with us?
Yeah, Mike is just unmuting himself right now.
Oh, I have nothing new to report, unfortunately, so.
Megan, you're kind of freezing up.
Oh, sorry. I'm in a cafe. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Your screen's frozen
Okay.
though.
Okay, what if I just do video? I mean, audio, does that work?
That works.
So, was there any progress made on the art collection database choice?
No.
Okay,
I think we talked about like a few of the options at the last meeting. And then I didn't do anything on it. So I'm sorry if I dropped the ball. Megan, are you still there? I think we might have lost Megan.
Do we know anything about the treatment of self-made man with respect to fixing the bullet holes? Is there any progress there?
Good question, because it seems like it's warm enough now. So I'll reach out to Cricket Harbeck and find out what the status is. I think now that I'm thinking about the last meeting, I was thinking that committee members were researching the two options, but was I supposed to set up like for one of those databases, was I supposed to set up a login and then send it to you guys and I forgot? Or what was I supposed to do? I think maybe I was supposed to do that and I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we talked about it as an alternative to Microsoft Excel, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I know that there was like we looked at the one that Megan was suggesting and we noticed that it looked like we could get a temporary subscription. We just had to remember to cancel it like after 30 days. Oh no, now come to think of it, weren't we going to ask the company for like a sales pitch so that they could run us through I think that's what we landed on. Christina suggested that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So we need to look into the arts database. I'll put that on my list. Sorry, guys.
Okay, anything else you want to talk about with respect to updates on maintenance? So we can move up onto update on the AARP Community College grant for warning signs.
The only update is just I submitted the grant application and I included a copy of it in your packet. It's just a real quick and easy. And I think that we won't hear back on this until June. It looked like I logged into the website and I think we won't hear back for a while, but I just wanted to share that it got submitted.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, you did a nice job, Abby. Anything else you want to talk about? That's the last agenda item.
Short meeting. We should make everybody unmute themselves so that you guys will have to speak and we can hear you at least breathing. You're really quiet.
I had one question.
Sure.
I walked by the poster today from the library, which is across from the depot on the terrace. And it kind of reminded me of our historic markers. Are our historic markers limited to a certain amount of number of words, or how is that working?
Are you talking about the like landmark plaques, or are you talking about those stencil things we were talking about doing on the sidewalk?
The
Landmarks. So the landmarks committee right now is working on updating all of the plaques, and they decided that they wanted to limit the text because they thought that people's attention spans are a little less these days, and so they wanted to have room to include the website for people who wanted to look for more information. There's a website going to be printed on the bottom, but they were going to limit the text to, I think, like 3 sentences. And I think that they're reaching out to the landmark owners right now to get their approval of the language so that they can order the new plaques.
Okay, thank you for that, because on the poster, it said how the library got started.
Oh,
And then it said the year that it had its own building. And I thought it would be interesting to know about what happened in between, where the library was, at those periods of time.
so that's the plaque that's on the depot?
No, it's just a poster that the library put together.
Oh,
And on the terrace, it's just cardboard or something.
oh, I haven't even seen that.
I think it's rather new.
Okay.
That reminds me, what happened with the T-wall stuff, the windows?
I checked in with Jake to see if I could include it on this agenda. And he said that he's working with an artist and they're going back and forth and they have 3 concepts. He didn't name who the artist was, but he said he would have something ready to review at the May meeting. So that'll be something to look forward to.
Awesome.
Anything else anybody wants to discuss? If not, should we make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Meg moves. Anybody want a second?
I will. This is Katie.
Okay, Katie seconds. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Bye.
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, everybody. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.